Hi, this is Emma Brooke. Lovely to see you again. Thank you for checking in. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about self-blame and berating yourself and generally thinking that it's always your fault when it probably isn't. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this today is because I guess it's come up for me again, and it's something that I do have to deal with every now and again, and fortunately now I'm getting a lot better at how to deal with it. And I realised that this morning I did it and I went through the steps that I do, and I fixed that feeling very quickly. So I suddenly thought, actually, I now have steps to deal with this, and I have tools that I can put in place to stop me feeling that blame, and perhaps that would be beneficial for you guys as well. So, when I'm talking about self blame, I'm talking about when something goes wrong, or generally when something happens with somebody else that you immediately go and blame yourself and start thinking, maybe it was something I said, maybe it was something I did, maybe if I'd have only done this, they wouldn't have done that. I just a little bit of information on me. When I first started counselling, I counselled at a bereavement service, and it was a charity, and the counselling was offered for free to the clients. And not that that always makes a difference, but sometimes it does when you're not having to pay. You tend to get more cancellations or no-shows, what we call DNAs, did not attend. And when I first started counselling, I got a couple of these DNAs. These people just didn't show up and they didn't call, and I was sat there waiting for the hour because, just in case they got caught up and they couldn't make a phone call or whatever, I had to stay, I had to be there. And when I'd first started counselling, I immediately took it to supervision, and I was like, maybe it was something I said in the last session, maybe I pushed them too hard, maybe I didn't listen well enough, maybe I didn't come across as though I cared enough. What can I do to make sure they come back? And my counsellor taught me a very valuable lesson. He said, Emma, maybe it wasn't about you. And I was like, okay. Like, of course it was about me. I'm the centre of everybody's universe, surely. It had to be about me because I was feeling bad about it. But of course, it doesn't have to be about you. It doesn't have to be about you at all. It could be everything to do with them and nothing to do with you. And particularly, for counselling clients who'd been bereaved, sometimes they just couldn't handle it. And it wasn't anything to do with me, and they weren't normally the sort of people who cancel and just not show up for something, but you're just in a weird place when you've lost a loved one. You don't always know what you're doing. You're not always thinking clearly and rationally. So that really helped me. That one thing that maybe it's not all about you, Emma. Okay? And it's weird that we as people pleasers and people who generally want to try and make everybody happy all the time and are very selfless. I'm a lot more selfish now, but I used to be trying to do everything for everybody else. Yet at the same time, I had this other part of me that every time something went wrong, it was all about me. It was all about what I'd done or what I'd said or what I hadn't done or what I hadn't said. Nothing to do with what was going on with the other person and what they might have been going through. So it seems like a little bit of a self-destruct button that you want to people please, you want to do everything for everybody else, but when something goes wrong, all of a sudden the tables turn and it's all about you. So the first thing that I learned in this sort of self-blame cycle is, number one, you've got to become aware of it. So I had a client cancellation this morning, and it was very last minute, like 15 minutes before, and it wasn't even like I'd been given much warning. So yeah, 15 minutes before I got this email, and my first thought straight away was, oh, what have I done wrong? And fortunately, because I've been on this journey for a long time and because I'm, touch wood, pretty self-aware of what's going on for me, I caught that thought straight away. So it wasn't unconscious. A lot of the time these thoughts will be unconscious until you bring them to your awareness. So you'll start to feel shit, but you won't know why. So I heard that thought in my head. And I was like, whoa, no, 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 no. We've been there before, okay? And I immediately put a stop to it. And I followed up with, why does it always have to be about you? Okay? You have no idea what's going on for that person. You have no idea what's going on in their life. And as a coach and as a counsellor, and even as a person now, because people know I'm a coach and a counsellor, and I've studied psychology, and I know I have a very good intuition, and I kind of can pick up on what's going on for people. Quite often, if people are going through difficult times, or something's happened and they're not ready to talk about it yet, I found sometimes they avoid me. Okay. And it's not to do with me, and they've come and talked to me after and said, I didn't want to avoid you. It's just, I knew that you know that something was wrong, and I didn't know whether I wanted to talk about it or not at that point. And, I'll talk to them and say, I would never force you to talk about something that you didn't want to. And then we've kind of moved on. But initially, I do get that sometimes with people that don't know me very well and don't know that I can turn off the counsellor mode and the coach mode. And sometimes, you never know what's going on in people's lives. If somebody snaps at you, it might not be about you at all. It might be that, God, their dog died on the way to work, or they had an argument with their boyfriend, or, work was shit, or they just got fired, or, you have no idea what's going on in that person's life. Okay, so lesson number 1, bring it to awareness. So as soon as you start to feel bad, you need to really start asking yourself, what is going on here? What am I thinking is going on here? What assumptions am I making about myself, about the world, about the other person? And it's really key. So awareness, mindfulness, it's so key. It's so important. You can't do anything about any of the way you live your life if you don't know what you're thinking. Okay? Because the power is with your thinking, it's with your thoughts. Your behaviour comes from your thoughts. So just practice that. Just ask yourself the question, what am I thinking? Where has that come from? Where has that feeling come from? When you've got the thought, immediately ask, why is it all about me? Okay? When it's to do with self-blame, obviously not for everything. Sometimes it is all about you, which is fantastic. But in this case, if you're blaming yourself for something, for a situation, ask yourself, why is it all about me? Okay. Could there be any other explanations? I guarantee you can come up with at least 5. In fact, I challenge you to come up with 5. When you're beginning, you ask yourself, why is this all about me? And then you come up with, and you say in your head or out loud, or you write them down, but you come up with them 5 alternatives as to why this isn't your fault and what else might be going on that could have caused that. And then you just let it go. Okay, then at that point, you take a breath and you say, okay, I'm willing to forgive myself for that bit of self-blame that came in there, for that jumping to conclusions. I'm willing to forgive myself, and I choose to see this differently. I'm willing to forgive myself, I choose to see this differently. You don't have to do anything else. Okay, you don't have to actually forgive yourself. You don't have to actually figure out a way to think about it differently. You've given yourself some alternatives. Your subconscious mind, the universe will work together to figure that out, okay? You just need to say, I forgive myself, I choose to see this differently. And every time that thought comes up, okay, if it comes back, be aware of it. Challenge it. Why does it always have to be about you? I forgive myself, I choose to see this differently. Awareness. What is this thought I'm thinking? Why does it always have to be about me? Why can't it be something else? I forgive myself, I choose to see this differently. 3 steps to eradicating self-blame. Please let me know how you get on, and just drop me some comments. I love hearing from you. Take care. Bye.